Hey everybody, how you doing? This is our test requested by our users. Anybody who ever wants a test, just let me know, I'll do it. So we had some questions about the glass vial that I used and this gold. I actually put more gold in it since then. Right now the GPZ is kind of a little wonky because I think I'm, around so much EMI. I did do a noise cancel. Let me just go over the settings real quick with you. I'm on general gold mode. Let's see, I've got sensitivity at 8. I might bump that up a little, but it's gonna go nuts if I go any higher. Let me just check my threshold for you guys. 25 on threshold there. Auto smoothing on low. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started and see what we can do here. Okay everybody, I got the Garrett AT Gold here. Sensitivity is cranked. Threshold's on 5. I'm on all metal mode. Iron volume, iron audio is on. Okay, nothing discriminated out. Let's take a look. Okay, this is already doing better than the last time I did this. You can just hear something in the about, I'd say that's probably 6 or 7 inches. Now again, this is in no way trying to make this machine look better than GPZ. GPZ is just freaking out because there's way too much EMI here. That machine in GPZ is obviously way superior to this machine. So don't think this is some kind of test like that, guys. Not trying to make it look like that. We're just trying to figure out why these machines don't do as well on gold in this vial. All right, so let's check out this this nugget next. That is really nice right there. And I'm gonna try to mess with the GPZ a little bit more just to get it to work a little smoother for you guys. Maybe turn the coil the opposite direction of the house or something. But I'm getting this nugget. Again, that's just a bunch of glue around it. So this nugget's not that big at all. And I'm getting that like, it's at like 8 or 9 inches at least in the threshold. Let's check out the tiniest one. Wow. Still getting that into the threshold at good 6 inches there. That's pretty impressive for that. All right, let's do another tiny one. Just losing it right there. Okay, and this guy. That's kind of weird. Looks like a bigger nugget, right? About 6 inches. Whereas in with this one, I'm just kind of going up and down a little bit to try to find the best spot on the coil. This one squeaks it out a little bit better than that one. Let's try this guy. The kind of one mixed in host rock with that's a little bit of strange shape. So I'm getting that on the threshold at, oh, right about there, 8 inches, so that's a little bit better. So yeah, these are all pretty much lining up really well. Let's try this one more time, this vial, just to remember what the... I'm getting the vial. At about 6.5. 6.5 inches, okay. Okay, I'm gonna turn you guys off and we'll go ahead and get the Equinox set up. Okay, I got my Equinox 800 with the 15-inch coil. Let's go ahead and gold. We'll just start in gold 1 just for kicks. Get the iron on. Let's check our volumes at max. Thresholds at 12. I'm going to bump that up to 15. Let's do a quick noise cancel. Oh, you guys can't even see the screen. There we go. And then what I'm gonna do is bump my sensitivity. Well, sensitivity is at 21. That's about the best I can get away with here with the EMI. Okay, let's get started. We're in multi gold 1. Okay, so this is interesting because my Aussie friend, my new Aussie subscriber, this is what kind of, I think, what you were getting at, which is the threshold's key here. Because I can still, at 5.5 inches, still not outdoing the gold, AT gold here. Almost, it's just, I can just hear it at 5.5 inches. I think the AT gold got, I felt like it went on like just a half an inch or an inch further. But this is doing fine for a, see, I can just hear that threshold bump. If I turn it this way, I can actually get it out further. Whereas in the AT gold, it didn't like it this way. It might be because I'm moving it faster. There's all kinds of variables here that we can't, you know, you got to take into account. We're just doing this for fun, guys. We're not trying to prove anything. So this is the tiny nug, and that is really impressive. That's really impressive. All right, I'm back on board with this. All right, this guy, second tiny nug. That one maxes out at about 4. That's about 4 inches that maxes out at. I'm gonna check my recovery speed. I think it's at like 0 though. I'll go double check it for you guys. I mean 1. Ooh, this one's doing nice. Look at that. I'm still getting that at about 8 inches, 9 inches maybe. Alright, next, I think this nugget's actually a little bit smaller than the one I just had. Maybe not. That's a good 9 or 10 inches right there. And then the looks like a bigger nugget, but might be because it's got a bunch of host rock. It's kind of maxing out here, isn't it? Same kind of 9 or 10 inch max. All right, let's go check our settings real quick. Forgot to turn my WM8. There we go, module off. All right. I wanted to check recovery speed. Whoa, recovery speed's at 6. Let's take it down to 2. Let me double check my... Oh yeah, let's take the iron bias off. And off. And see if this helps a little bit. So we're at recovery speed 2 with no iron bias now. Oh yeah, that helped a bunch. I'll go a little slower since our recovery speed is lower. Oh yeah, that gave me probably a couple of inches on the vial. Now, I think what's going on here is the Equinox does this just like the GPZ. If there's EMI, the Equinox just suffers so much in performance. But the Equinox is really good at eliminating EMI, so when it is affected by EMI, you know it's got to be bad. But it's one of the best machines I've used at... Holy crap, that is a long ways out. Look at that. Still getting it. That's 11 inches. It's one of the best machines at eliminating EMI, but when there is EMI and it can't deal with it, oh man, does it suffer a lot. So I think a lot of machines are like that though. But I guess I'm using that as an excuse for the GPZ right now because it can't perform well if there's any kind of interference like that. So the tiny nugget here, I guess bees like metal detectors. Come on, get off of there. Let's go for the tiniest nug as soon as this friggin' bee gets away from me. You done? Bees like gold and metal detectors. All right. Hold on, I'm gonna... Jesus, man. Go away. All right. This is the smallest one. Yep, getting massive depth on that now that the recovery speed is lower. And remember, I'm on recovery 2, so if I went even lower... Nope. He likes that metal detector, so I'm going to go ahead and shut you guys off. We know now that lower recovery speed, no iron bias gave us quite a bit of depth. And oh, actually, you know what? Let's do gold 2. Now that but I'm gonna shut you guys off real quick, and then I'll shut you on once this bee is gone. Okay, so I'm on gold 2 now. We're just gonna double check our settings here. Multi. 0 iron bias. Recovery speed will do 2, and that will make it even. Okay, here we go. Gold 2. With the vial. Wow. I would say right about there is something that I would explore. That's like 9 inches. Let's turn it sideways. Okay. And then let's go through our nugs here. Tiniest nug. Dang. That's awesome. Second tiniest nug. Doesn't do as well on this one for some reason. Okay, and next. Wow. So if you've got a nice rounded kind of river worn nug like that, remember that's glue around the outside. The nugget's not as big as it looks, so you gotta make sure you see what gold is. Yeah, but if you got one of those, the more condensed the gold is, the easier this hits it. That one does great. And last one, this guy. All super impressive. But remember, I do have the 15-inch coil on right now. Okay, cool. I'll get back to you in a second. Okay guys, so unfortunately just doing this with the GPZ is just not possible in this environment. I tried it again, I tried doing all kinds of setting switches, and it's just not, you can't take that kind of sensitivity, you know, out in the burbs, right? You got to be out in the middle of nowhere to be able to do a fair test with that machine. That said, we're going to keep working with the AT Gold and the Equinox. I've taken the gold out here and put it into this bag, and it's to see if plastic has anything to do with it versus metal. Let's take it up into the corner so it's more like one, if that helps. A little bit. Still getting into about the same range here. And you can kind of see how much gold that is just looking at the corner of the bag. Alright, it's about 5 grams, rather 5.6 grams I believe this is. And I'm getting it at about 6.5 inches tops. Yep, that's my peak right there. Cool. All right, I'll shut this off, do the Equinox, and then we'll wrap it up. Okay, so we're in gold 2, sensitivity 21, sweep speed, recovery speed 2, and iron volume on, nothing notched out, no discrimination. We've got our gold in the corner. Let me come over to the side here. Okay, that's actually doing a little bit better than the Garrett. But again, in the defense, the Garrett has a much smaller coil. This is 15 inches. The Garrett coil is, I think, 6 inches coil. But that's very impressive. So here's what my suspicion is. The reason why we thought the vial wasn't working is because I was doing it next to my house where there's lots of EMI, and the machines were like right next to my house. So the machines just weren't performing as well. That's my suspicion. Now there's one more test I want to do with you guys while I got you here, and that is to go through single frequencies in gold mode. So let's try 20 kilohertz and see how that does, just for kicks. Okay, so that's that nugget. And the reason why I'm doing this is because if you've hunted with the Nox, you know that hunting at a single frequency can be a little quieter than hunting in multi-frequency. Oh yeah, that's doing great on that nugget. Still getting it at like 11 inches, so that's beautiful. Let's try the corn. Let's try the gold. Oh, interesting. So single frequency. That is really interesting. Single frequency. Look at that. It doesn't get it. The stuff in the bag. That's crazy. Just to show you this, hold on. I'm gonna go back to multi. That was 20 kilohertz we were in. Now watch. That's just surreal. Let's try 40 kilohertz. I'm bunching it up in the corner for these tests. Okay, 40 does better. It still doesn't do as good as multi, but better than 20. Back to 20, just for kicks. Gold 2, 20. Nope. All right, that's really good to know. Let's just try our nugget that's sort of spread out just for kicks, right? So I'm getting that at about 6.5, 7 inches, 8 inches, maybe. Now let's go to multi. Actually, let's do 40 kilohertz next. Okay, 40 takes me a little further. And multi. Yep, multi gets even a little further. All right, so that's a really good test. I'm gonna turn this off. So what we learned is that don't test your GPZ with any EMI around. That I think the Equinox 800, if you brought the coils down to size, so they were the same size, I think that the Garrett might just inch out the Equinox 800. But because I've got a bigger coil on the Equinox, it can just edge out the Garrett in some situations. Both detectors exceeded my expectations on, tiny friggin' nuggets going, this little guy I think we heard was 6.5 inches deep. And the other thing is, if your multi-frequency on the Equinox is really noisy and you want to hunt in single frequency like I do, I would go to 40 kilohertz and hunt in 40 in gold 2. Yeah, I think that's about it. Multi-frequency, I just know a lot of people get a lot of false signals and weird signals in multi. So I don't think that 40 kilohertz, multi is going to give you a little more depth, but you're not going to suffer a lot if you go down to 40 kilohertz. You might lose half an inch, maybe. And this is just all air tests, so I'm just speculating all of this. Everything is different when something's in the ground, and when iron mineralization is present, oh man, is it different. So who knows? The Garrett AT Gold might just beat the crap out of this machine in iron mineralization. So I can't tell. I'm just doing air tests for you guys. This is all just for kind of helping you in the future decide what you want to use, what you want to hunt in, and it's all just for fun. So I'm not trying to prove anything. Let me know if you have any requests for tests, and I'll do them. And you guys keep going. Happy hunting. Cheers. Now, a lot of people might be wondering why I always say multi is noisier than single frequency. I just want to show you an example so you guys can see what I mean. So we're in multi-gold mode 2. Just want you to hear everything this machine is reporting. Okay, now I'm going to go to 40 and I'm going to go backwards. Okay, now I'm going to go back to multi, go over the same ground. Okay, now back to 40 and go backwards. So I don't know if you guys heard, but it's just, oh, hold on, let me just turn this off. So I don't know if you guys can hear that, but that's reporting way less of this sort of, I call it micro trash. I don't know what it is. It's probably, multi is probably so sensitive that it just reports very small targets. And it should be. Multi, obviously, we just saw, does better than single frequencies in gold mode. I don't have that same experience in Park 2 and Park 1 for you coin hunters out there, so be careful about drawing conclusions there. I don't know what to do with that information. It's just a matter of you deciding whether or not you want to hear a lot of noise or you want a slightly cleaner experience. I personally would probably alternate between multi and 40 kilohertz, just depending on the soil mineralization. For instance, when I'm in beach mode, I hunt in multi. You know, it does better. But then if I'm in certain types of sand, single frequency does better. So don't ever think I'm trying to say one thing is better than the other. I'm just trying to show you how great this detector is because it's got all these tools at your disposal. You just need to make sure you try them out for each detecting setting and, you know, use your best judgment in the scenario you're in the conditions you're in. That's all I'm saying. So again, yeah, happy hunting, guys. Okay, one more thing, guys. You know, I just went downstairs to the shop and my boss made a really good point, Bob. He says, I said, you know, the Equinox beat the Garrett AT Gold in some areas pretty well, right? Surprised me. I mean, not like huge, and this is obviously just an air test. But I said, but it's got a larger coil. He said, that doesn't matter at all. He said, larger coil suffers more on smaller items, smaller targets, because he said the signal strength it's putting down is then it's going deeper, but it's a little bit weaker in what it can catch in terms of small items. So that really surprised me. And then I told him, I said, well, you know, we really don't know how these would perform in a test in heavy iron mineralized soil. You know, the Garrett might beat the Minelab, no problem. And he said, not necessarily. He said, Garrett's developed in Texas and Minelab's developed in Australia, where you get the hottest soil, you know, and the most heavy iron mineralization. So I said, okay, these are all interesting factors to kind of keep in mind. So if anybody out there is a Garrett and a Minelab 800, let me know how it performs in mineralized soil. Until then, I'll have to drag these out to the friggin' desert and try to do the same test. But all really interesting things to keep into account when you're hunting and what tool you want to use for the job. So you guys have fun, stay safe.